Well, happy Wednesday to everybody. Hope you are doing well. Next game in the 87 replay, Minnesota Twins and the Kansas City Royals. I'm going to try something different. I'm going to turn the little dice thing backwards so I can see this part a little bit better. Maybe you can too. I don't know. And it might make it easier for me to drop this in the little slot as well. All right, this is the third game on July the 1st, 1987. Game number 533 overall in the overall replay. We're at Royal Stadium, which is symmetrical ballpark. Singles are 1 to 11, home runs only 1 to 3. And our pitching matchup for today is Frank Viola for the Twins against Bob Stoddard for the Royals. Stoddard, a reliever and a starter. He's got a 5 starting rating and a 3 relief rating. Minnesota comes in the game 36-41. Kansas City comes in 38-36. Bob Stoddard has a 20 wild pitch rating, so anytime a wild pitch comes up for him, it's going to be automatic. No balk, and he has a 0 hold when combined with his catcher, Larry Owen. Let's get the numbers on Stoddard for both the replay and real world. Real world, Bob Stoddard comes in. If I can get this thing to focus right for me. Come on, get up here. There we go. 1-3 with a 4.28 earned run average. Only pitched 40 innings in real world. In the replay, he's pitched 9 innings, a couple of games in relief. I think this might be his first start. Let me check his numbers here on the cumulative replay because let's see, did he have it? He had 1 start. His previous start, he's had 1 relief appearance and 1 start. So this is start number 2. He is 0-1 with a 3.12 ERA, 9 innings, 8 hits, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts. Good morning, Mr. Gudeman. Good to see you. So, Bob Stoddard, marginal guy, but he was starting today's game against the Minnesota Twins. Good morning, Kathy. Dan Gladden will lead us off for the Twins. Gladden hitting 237 on the replay, 5 homers, 21 driven in. He had 249 real world. And this is for both Jeff and Kathy. Can't have the first pitch without the ceremonial first sip. And Jeff, that is good coffee. All right. So like I said, I've got the dice tower turned backwards, thinking maybe it'd be easier for you guys to see it. I know it's certainly going to be easier for me to see it. And it'll be easier for me to get the dice through these little small hole without dropping them somewhere else. So I'm going to try it and see what happens. Here's Gladden. And we'll get a 5.8. 5.8 on Stoddard is a base on balls. Not a good start if you are Stoddard. Let's see here. He walked 22, struck out 23 in 40 innings. And, of course, Dan Gladden's going to try to get a lead here. He needs a 4, 5, or a 6 to obtain a good lead. Make sure there's no pickoff. There's not. All right, so 4, 5, or 6, he gets the lead, and he gets the lead. So he's going to go 18, being held as a 16, and then a 0 hold. So 1 to 16, he will steal it. The T rating on Butera is a 7. So if we roll 1, 2, or 3, we'll roll on that and see if there's a T rating. But right now, we're strictly looking at 1 to 16. That's all that matters. 16 or less, Gladden is safe. And it's an 18. He got thrown out by Butera. Wow. Didn't see that one coming, but that's why you roll the dice. You never know what's going to happen. Let's look at Gladden. How was he doing on his steals real world versus replay? Because that was a caught stealing. So let's see what he did. Real world, he stole 25 bases, got caught 9 times. On the replay, he's had 9 stolen bases. This will be his 4th time being caught. So Gladden caught stealing, 2 to 4. 1 away, and we turn it over to Greg Gagne, shortstop. Gagne hitting one of the league's leading hitters. He's hitting 355 on the replay, 8 homers, 40 driven in. He only hit 265 real world, so he's definitely overperforming, at least early on or in the first half. 4.8 for Stoddard. That's a single, 1 star. So base hit for Gagne. Now, does he want to try to tempt fate? I think he's going to hold where he is. especially with Puckett and Herbig coming up. Doesn't want to run himself out of an inning. So Gagne will be held, but he won't try to go anywhere. Nothing on the Havoc. Here is Kirby Puckett. Puckett on the replay is hitting 320. 11 homers, 39 driven in. He hit 332 real world. Puckett 2-6, and that is another single, 1 star. Or since Jeff is here, 1 asteroid. And Bob Stoddard, the only out he has recorded is a caught stealing. He has not fooled anybody. So that brings up Kent Hrbek, first baseman. Hrbek hitting 291, 18 homers, 55 driven in. He hit 285 in the real season. First and second, 1 out. Double play would really do Stoddard some good right now. 6-2. 6-2 is a walk. That's not going to help the cause. So 2 walks and 2 singles. And the only reason there's not a run on the board yet is Gladden was caught stealing to start the game. But other than that, Stoddard's in deep doo-doo. Bases loaded, 1 out for Gary Gaetti. The only bright light here is Gaetti does have a bunch of ground ball A's on his card, and he could hit into a double play. Hello, Dan. Good to see you. Dan, I got a FedEx email telling me the package is supposed to arrive sometime tomorrow by the end of the day. So I'm expecting it like 5, 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. And hopefully everything gets there on time and they deliver to the right place and everything else. So we'll see. Here, I haven't decided if I'm going to do unboxing here or not. I don't know if people really care to see that or not, but, you know, I'll think about it. Here's Gary Gaetti. He's hitting 265, 16 homers, 64 driven in. Hit 257 real world. 1 out, bases loaded. Stoddard trying to get out of the mess. 5-2, and that's a ballpark slash. 1-11 at Royal Stadium. And that is a 3. It will be a base hit for Gaetti. The first run will come across the plate. Gagne, he scores. Everybody else moves up 90 feet. Death by 1,000 paper cuts. Base is still loaded, 1 out. The train continues for Roy Smalley, designated hitter. Smalley hitting 273 on the replay. 5 homers, 28 driven in. He at 275 real world. 5-4 switch hitter. And that's more trouble for Stoddard. 1-13 is a base clearing triple. 14-20 is a single. And that's a base clearing triple. Roy Smalley did have a triple real world. He hasn't had one in the replay yet, but he gets one right here. It's going to clear the bases. And I tell you what, Bob Stoddard may not last too long in this game. It's going to be a bullpen game for the Royals, and their bullpen is already shorthanded. So they could really be in trouble. It is 4-0 already. Only 1 out, runner at third. Infield's going to have to come in for Tom Brunansky. Brunansky hitting 266 on the replay, 12 homers, 36 driven in. He hit 259 real world. Infield is in. 4-7, and it doesn't matter if they're in or not. It's another base hit. So Bob Stoddard, wow, he has just not done so well. 5-0 Minnesota. Still only 1 out, and that out came on a caught stealing. So literally, Bob Stoddard has not gotten anyone out yet. Here's Lombardozzi. I agree, Dan. I've tried this, and it worked for me. So it's telling me Bob Stoddard is already tired in the first inning. I know he's not physically tired, but I guess it's, he's ineffective. And now a spam call wants to come in. Imagine that. All right, so here's Lombardozzi with Brunansky at first not being held. Stoddard, 3-8, and that's a ground ball third base. He gets a double play out of it. Round the horn, 5-4-3, double play. But the Twins put a 5 spot in the first inning and hand that lead to their ace, Frank Viola. So it's not looking good for the Royals right here. Oakland already won their game yesterday. So the Royals have in danger of falling behind in the standings by 7.5 games with a loss. So they have turned, they need to get it going here, but their offense is not one that's not going to normally score this many runs. They're usually depending on pitching and defense. But, Mama said there'd be days like this. All right, here's Frank Viola. On the real season, Frank Viola in 1987 was 17-10 with a 2.90 ERA. On the replay, he is 7-4 and his ERA is 2.95. So pretty much right in line with his 290 ERA. He's just not getting a lot of run support. That's why he's got 4 losses already. But his numbers are very good. 131 innings pitched, only 92 hits, 43 walks, and 87 strikeouts. But he's definitely getting run support today. So you would think he would be able to secure a victory here. But that's why you roll the dice. You never know. Here's Willie Wilson hitting 271 on the replay. 2 homers, 15 driven in. He at 279 real world. 5'6" switch hitter. Batting right-handed is a strikeout for Viola. So he starts out the game with a strikeout. Willie Wilson is out. Here's Kevin Seitzer, third baseman. Seitzer hitting 299 on the replay. 9 homers, 40 driven in. He at 323 real world. 4-7, and that's a ground ball second base X, our first X chance of the game. It is Steve Lombardozzi at second base. He's a 2 E18. 2 and a 14. He will get to that. So E18, he only has to avoid 13, 3, and 18. Those are the 3 numbers to avoid. 3, 13, and 18. And he can't avoid a 13. Are you kidding me? This is terrible. So E18, that 13 is sitting right smack dab here like a sore thumb. And there it is. E4. And I know that Viola's probably shaking his head like, come on, man. The old Joe Biden. Come on, man. All right. Seitzer. It's a minus. Well, they're down 5-0, so he's not going to try to steal regardless. Down 5-0. Here's George Brett. Brett hitting 289 on the replay. 8 homers, 19 driven in. He had 290 real world, so he's kind of right on his number there. 5-3, lefty. Fly ball, right field X. We're looking at Brunansky. He's a 2E4 for Brunansky. 2 and a 17, he'll get to that. E4 in the outfield and right field. He's got to avoid 3, 4, 15, and 18. And that is a 16. He barely does it, but he does make the catch. Wasn't pretty, but he made it. 2 down. And that brings up Danny Tartable, right fielder. Tartable hitting 321 on the replay. 18 homers, 54 driven in. He hit 309 real world. 610. And that's going to be a fly ball center field X. So now we're looking at not Dan Gladden. We're looking at the Puckett. He's a 1. We know he's going to get to it. We're only concerned about the E6. And that is 3, 4, 15, and 18. He's got to avoid 3, 4, 15, and 18. And he does just that to make the catch. And that's going to end the inning. So at the end of 1, it is Minnesota 5, Kansas City nothing. Not sure how long the Royals want to go with Bob Stoddard. They are a limited bullpen. This could be a Bob Shirley day. He's got a relief factor of 4, and he hasn't pitched in a while. So he's there along with Gleaton, Quisenberry, and Farr. That's the 4 relief pitchers they have. So Bob Shirley would be the first guy out of the bullpen to try to give him some length and eat some innings. So here's Sal Butera. He was the only guy not to bat in the first inning for the Twins, and he'll see what he can do. Butera hitting 205 on the replay. 1 homer, 6 driven in. He hit 171 real world. We got a 4-4. That's a fly ball center field X. Willie Wilson's a 1. We know he's going to get to it. He's an E1, so the only way he makes an error is on a 17. And there is no 17, so he makes the play, 1 away. Back to the top of the order, and Dan Gladden. .211 for Gladden, and that's a ballpark slash. 1-11, base hit. 12-20, he lines to short. We get a 17, he lines it to the shortstop, Salazar. 2 up, 2 down. Funny looking 6 there. 2 outs right away here for Stoddard, so he's off to a much better start, but still, the inning's not over till you get that 3rd out. And here's Greg Gagne. 5-7. And that's another walk. Not what he wanted. 3rd walk already for Stoddard. And that'll send up Puckett. Gagne will be held but won't try for a lead. Here is Puckett. 5-7 again, same roll, another walk. 4th walk issued. Now all of a sudden it's a clutch situation for Kent Herbeck. In the clutch, Herbeck will gain a hit on 112. That's a 1-6. He struck him out. First strikeout for Bob Stoddard. Couldn't have come at a better time to get him out of the mess. So we go to the bottom of the second. Still 5-0 Twins. And due up for Kansas City, it'll be the venerable Frank White, second baseman, followed by Bo Jackson and Steve Bye-Bye Balboni. So Frank White hitting 238 on the replay, 10 homers, 27 driven in. He at 245 real world. That's a 5-11, and that's a ballpark blast. Frank White does have normal power. Ballpark blasts, though, are only 1-3 at Royal Stadium. It's a big ballpark. So not much of a chance of a home run, but a 1, 2, or 3 chance. And that's a 6, so just a deep fly to left. And White is gone here to start the second. Brings up Bo Nose. Bo Jackson hitting 248 on the replay. 11 homers, 30 driven in. He at 235 real world. And we get a 3-9 against the lefty. That's a 1-6 for a triple. Anything else, he flies out to Puckett in center. So 1-6, he gets a triple. And that's a 10, so Puckett runs it down. Takes the extra base hit away from Bo. 2 down for Steve Bye-Bye Balboni. Balboni hitting 186 on the replay. 14 homers, 32 driven in. He at 207 real world. 6-6 against Viola is a fly to left. Gagney's got it. 3 flyouts take care of the Royals pretty quickly. We go to the third, still 5-0. Stoddard back out, hanging on by a thread. He is technically fatigued, so if he hits one of these dots, he's going to have to come out. At least that's my rule, that he has to come out if he hits a dot once you hit fatigue. And Gary Gaetti stepping to the plate. Whoa, even up close, I still missed the tower there, didn't I? There we go. 5-6, righty-righty, and that's going to be a 1-7 double, 8-20 single. And that's going to be a double, leadoff double for Gary Gaetti, and the trouble continues now for Bob Stoddard. Bob Shirley is working in the bullpen. Maybe a different Bob is needed. Maybe need a bob and weave. I don't know. Do something to avoid these punches that are being thrown by the Twins. Here's Roy Smalley. 4-9, switch hitter batting left. That's a strikeout, but it would have been a strikeout, but he's got the dot. So it's going to turn to a base hit, 2 stars, and he will have to come out of the game. 6-0 Royals, and that's going to do it for Mr. Stoddard. So Stoddard goes 2+ and just gets shellacked. And now Bob Shirley's job is just to eat some innings. So they will bring Mr. Shirley in, coming over from the Yankees. And let's see what the numbers say on Mr. Shirley and how he's done on the replay. So Shirley, on the actual season, Bob Shirley, 1-0 with a 6.31 ERA. And on the replay, he's 4-1 with a 5.22 ERA. 29 innings pitched, 29 hits, 16 walks, 15 strikeouts. And he'll be in there to face, first of all, Tom Bernansky. Shirley is a -4, but I don't really think that's going to affect anything with the score being what it is. I doubt the Twins do a lot of running, but you never know. All right, so Smalley's at first, not being held. And here is Bernansky. Whoa, missed it again. There we go. 6-9 for Shirley, and that's a ballpark blast for Bernansky. Fortunately for Shirley, it's only a 1-3. If this was in the Metrodome, it'd probably be a home run. Instead, it is a fly to left. So Royal Stadium bails him out. 1 down. And that'll bring up Lombardozzi. And we get a 6-9 for Lombardozzi. And again, is a ballpark blast. He has weak power, though, so it would only be a single. But again, it has to be a 1-3. And that will be a fly to left again. So Shirley twice has been bailed out by Royal Stadium. The cavernous Royal Stadium has bailed him out. Here's Butera. That's a 1. So we got to go to the computer to get the wild pitch rating for Shirley. Shirley's wild pitch rating is a 5. 1-5 for a wild pitch. And there's no wild pitch. So here's Butera. And that is a 1-8 for Butera. It grounds to short to end the inning. So Shirley comes in and does the job. And now we can close the book on Stoddard, thank goodness. Once I go to the computer and get all of the pertinent data. See what the Strat-O-Matic computer computes for me as far as the Odyssey that is Bob Stoddard. 2+ innings, 7 hits, 6 runs, all earned, 4 walks and a strikeout. Can't get much more uglier than that. That's about as bad as it gets. You know, that movie As Good as It Gets. This is as bad as it gets right here. This is. I mean, that's challenging the Rocky Horror Baseball show with the 2025 Colorado Rockies, which is on tonight, by the way. We'll have a game tonight around 8:30 for that. Game 5 of their season. They're 0-4. All right, so Angel Salazar. I digress. Angel Salazar will lead off for the Royals against Viola. Salazar hitting .227 on the replay. 2 homers, 14 driven in. He hit .205 real world. That's a 2-7 against the lefty. Struck him out. Second strikeout for Viola. 1 away for Larry Owen, the catcher, number 9 hitter. Owen hitting .088 on the replay in 68 at-bats. A homer and 2 driven in. He hit .189 real world. 6-7 against Viola. Another strikeout. Strikeout number 3. Royals can't get anything off of Viola. Here's Willie Wilson. He struck out his first chance. That's a 6-11. That's ground ball pitcher X. Viola is a 3E17. 3E17. 3 and a 10. He should get to that, you would think. 3 and a 10 is a G3. And he's an E17 as a pitcher. So he's got to avoid 3, 6, 11, 12, and 17. And that is a 14, which should be okay. Let me double check it. E17, there is no 14 there. So Viola does make the play to end the inning. And at the end of 3, it's 6-0 Twins. And Bob Shirley back out to start his second full inning of work. And he'll be facing the top of the order, Gladden, Gagne, and Puckett for the Twins. Hello, Jeremiah. I only have 1 pot a day. I limit it to 1 pot a day. This is my third and final cup of the day. All right. Here is Dan Gladden. 2-4 against the lefty. Lines it to third. Snagged by Seitzer, 1 away. So Shirley is in there. I mean, they want to get him 4 or 5 innings if they can. Eat those innings. Here's Gagne. 3-3 for Gagne. That's a ground ball to Seitzer once again. So Shirley has retired all 5 he's faced. Polar opposite of Mr. Stoddard. 2 up, 2 down for Kirby Puckett. Puckett is singled and walked. That is a 3-5 against the lefty, and that's a single. So Puckett will get yet another hit. 2-out single. And Puckett will hold. He will be held, and he will hold. He will not try for any leads. Here's Kent Herbeck, lefty. And if you watch my statistical review from the first couple months of the season I did a few days ago, Kent Herbeck hitting 200 points less against lefties than he does against righties, so he has all kinds of problems with lefties. 1-8, and that continues as he grounds it to Balboni to end the inning. So Stoddard takes care of the Twins in the fourth. We go to the bottom of the fourth. Still 6-0. It'll be Seitzer, Brett, and Tartable due up for the Royals, heart of the order. Seitzer, his first time up, reached on an error by Lombardozzi. Hello, Dr. D. 5-4, and that's going to be a line out right to Gagne. One away. One down, and that's going to send up George Brett, first baseman. Brett flew to right his first chance. 6-9, lefty. That's a pop up to first. Herbeck is there, 2 down. And that'll send up Tartable, right fielder. Flew to center field his first time up. 2-7 against the lefty. That's a 1-12 double. 13-20, he flies to Gladden. 1-12 double, 13-20, he flies to Gladden. And that's a fly out to Gladden to end the inning. So 3 up, 3 down go the Royals. We go to the fifth. It's still 6-0. And they're basically the Royals are going to basically pitch Bob Shirley till his arm falls off. And here's Gary Gaetti. Single and a double, 2 for 2. That is a 3-12 against the lefty, and that's a Lomax with an injury. So Gary Gaetti may have to leave this game. Their backup third baseman is Smalley, who's the DH, but they also have other players that can play that position. Al Newman would come in. If he gets injured, Al Newman would come in and play third base. So let's see, 1-6. He can stay in the game, 7 or higher. He's got to come out. That's a 7, so Gaetti will have to leave the game, and Al Newman will come on and be the new third baseman. So Al Newman will take over at third base, and he is a 3 E31. 3 with an E31. He runs at a 15. So Newman is going to be the third baseman in the 5th inning. So Al Newman at third when we start the bottom of the 5th. So Gaetti gets the rest of the game off, and here is Roy Smalley. That's a 6-2, switch hitter batting right. That's a fly to left field, and Bo Jackson hauls it in. 2 up, 2 down. We got some stability finally in this game. And here's Tom Brunansky. 110 against the lefty, and that's a ballpark blast, but once again, only a 1-3. And once again, Royal Stadium bails out Bob Shirley. If we were in the Metrodome, they would be multiple home runs that would have been hit, but not in Royal Stadium. We go to the bottom of the 5th, still 6-0, favor of the Twins. And now on the computer, you need to go in and bring in a new third baseman, Al Newman. Make sure he's in the game for Gaetti. Just a game-only injury. It is as played, but I do allow in-game injuries. It's not going forward. Here's Frank White. He will lead off against Mr. Viola. It'll be White, Jackson, and Balboni. Whoa, that White die did not go through. It flipped over on the edge, so let's redo that again. There we go. 5-4, and that's a line out to short. Gagne will snag it. 1 down. And that brings up Bo Jackson. 3-7 for Jackson, and that's a straight-out home run. There goes not only the no-hitter, but also the shutout. Bo Jackson. Let's get a close-up of Bo knows a home run, because Bo does know a home run when he sees one. 3-7 against the left-hander. That's clean as a baby's butt. 3-7. No D20 needed, no ballpark effect needed. Just a straight-out 3-7 home run. And the Royals are finally on the board. It is 6-1 for Bo Jackson. That is his 12th home run of the replay. He had 22 of them real world. But home run number 12 on the replay, RBI number 31. And now Viola will have to regroup forget the no-hitter and just pitch on. Here's Balboni. 6-11, ground ball pitcher X to Viola. Again, a 3E17. 3 and a 15 is no problem. E17, again, he has to avoid 3, 6, 11, 12, or 17. And that's an 11. That'll be an error on Viola. Viola is an E17 as a pitcher, and the 11 is right there. So there you go, another error in this game on the Twins, second error of the game. So maybe that home run took his concentration away and caused him to boot that ball. Either way, Balboni's at first with 1 out for Angel Salazar. Salazar struck out first chance, 2-7, and he'll strike out once more. That is strikeout number 4 for Viola. 2 down for Larry Owen. Catcher, he struck out his first chance. And it's a 2-9, and he's going to ground to short to end the inning. But the home run from Bo Jackson gets the Royals off to Schneid. At the end of 5, it's Minnesota 6 and Kansas City 1. And leading things off for the Twins will be Steve Lombardozzi, followed by Butera and Gladden. And I did want to check. I should have checked earlier, and I didn't do it. I want to check what the score of the real game was. I imagine the Twins won this game real world, but you never know. The pitching matchup would seem to say they would, in favor that they would. Come on, give me something here. Here we go. Actually, Kansas City won this game real world, believe it or not, 4-3. Stoddard went 4 1/3, only gave up 2 runs. Wow, interesting. Kansas City won the real game 4-3. Well, that's not happening today, that's for sure. No question about it. So here's Lombardozzi to start the top of the 6th. 6-7, and that is a 1-11 single. Anything else, he lines it to short. And that's a single for Steve Lombardozzi. His first hit of the game. Takes us to Sal Butera. 5-4. Ground ball third base X, chance for possible double play. But Seitzer's a 4, so he may not get that G1. He might not even get to it at all. 4 and a 5 might get through for a base hit. In fact, I'm sure it does. I'm positive it's going to skip past on the AstroTurf and get into the outfield for a base hit, which it does. Single 1 star. And we'll check E26 at third base. He's got to avoid 10, 11, 15, and 17, which he barely does with that. But it is a base hit 1 star. First and second, nobody out for Dan Gladden. Twins looking to get that run back and probably more. 3-4, but that's a ground ball shortstop A. That's a Giovanni's Tailor Shop. Tailor-made double play. 6-4-3, 2 quick outs. Lombardozzi does go to third. But that double play certainly will help the cause. Pitcher's best friend, as they say. That is a Giovanni's Tailor Shop tailor-made double play. Giovanni's Tailor Shop from Lemoyne, Pennsylvania. If you're in that area and you have tailoring needs, go by and see them. Tell them Demo sent you. They'll give you a discount. They're the unofficial sponsor of the channel, but the official sponsor of the Giovanni's Tailor Shop tailor-made double play of the game. And now Greg Gagne in the clutch against lefties. 1-12 is going to be an out. 2-8 is going to change to an out. And 3-8 is going to change to an out. A little bit of anti-clutch there. It's 2-10, and that'll ground it to short. So Shirley gets out of the mess. And now that's 4 innings pitched by Shirley. He has a fatigue of 4, but he has not reached his fatigue. He has it doesn't have full endurance. We got close to endurance to go a little further. They're going to at least try to get 1 more inning out of him if possible. as we go to the bottom of the 6th. Viola's fatigue is the 7th inning, so he's no problem for fatigue for him. Top of the order, and Willie Wilson starting things off. Hello, Thomas. Good to see you. They're not doing a whole lot of chipping right now. It's very minimal. 4-4, as Wilson's a switch hitter batting right-handed, but here Wilson's going to do something. 1-9 is a home run, or would be, but Wilson's got weak power. So 1-9 is going to be a single. 10-20 will be a double. And that's a double for Willie Wilson. Leadoff double to start the 6th. Long journeys start with small steps, so you got to do something. Here's Seitzer. You got to start somewhere, as they say. Seitzer, 4-8, and that's a strikeout for Viola. So he comes back and strikes out Seitzer, trying to let Kansas City know that they are down 6-1, and he doesn't foresee them scoring any more runs anytime soon. Here's George Brett. Then we give him false hope on that double. 4-11, and that's going to be a fly ball left field X. That's Dan Gladden. He's a 2E5. 2-17, he'll get to that. E5, the only errors for a left fielder for E5, 4, 14, and 18. He's got to avoid those 3 numbers, 4, 4, and 18. 4, 14, and 18, I should say. 4, 14, and 18. He's got to avoid those. And he can't avoid a 14. Are you kidding me? It's the 3rd error by the Twins. He's an E5 and a 14 sitting right here is a 2-base error. And what do we have here but a 14? Unbelievable. Viola's about ready to go ballistic with his defense. He's a normally reliable Dan Gladden. 2-base error. Allows another run to score. Obviously, well, it's not quite obvious it's unearned yet, but if they get Tartable, it will be unearned. That's a 1, so the wild pitch chance on Viola is only a 1. His balk's a 2, but no wild pitch. Here's Tartable. 5-5, and that is a ground ball second base C. That will get Brett to third base. Now there's 2 away. And now that run is unearned. And any future run in this inning is unearned. Here's Frank White in the clutch against the lefty. Loses a hit on 3-12. White is 0 for 2. 4-10, and that's a ballpark single check. 1-11. This could be a base hit to score a run. 1-11. And it's a 14, so bad break there, as they can't quite make that happen. He's going to pop it up to third, and that will end the inning. So the 1 unearned run comes in, and they chip away at the lead one more time to make it 6-2. Still doesn't feel like they're that close, but 4-run difference in 3 innings is not impossible. Shirley is back out, but now the Royal bullpen is starting to stir a bit in case he falls flat and needs help. And it looks like, let's see who's coming up here. Looks like Steve Farr is loosening in the bullpen for the Royals, but they're going to stick with Shirley as long as they can, if at all possible. 2-6. Puckett is a single to right field. He is 3 for 3, including a walk. Definitely upping that average. Here's Kent Herbeck. Documented how he has trouble against left-handed pitching. 5-4, and that is a fly ball center field X. Again, we know Willie Wilson's going to get to it with a 1, but with a runner on, we'll roll to make sure it's not an F1, and a 10 is not an F1. So the only error is a 17, and he makes the play 1 away. Nice to have a 1-rated center fielder out there for you if you're a pitcher. It's got to make you feel pretty good. Here's Al Newman, his first at-bat since coming in for the injured Gagne. So Newman on the replay is hitting 267, no homers, 12 driven in. He at 221 real world. Switch hitter batting right-handed. Nothing on the Havoc. That's a 5-5, and that's going to be a fly to center. Willie Wilson will run that down. I think they will cap Bob Shirley at 5 innings. I don't see them going past 5 innings with Bob Shirley. You can only expect so much out of one guy. That's a 1, so Shirley, I think I saw his wild pitch before, but I don't remember it, so we'll look it up again. Bob Shirley's wild pitch rating is a 5. No wild pitch. So here comes Smalley. 6-2. Fly ball to left. That'll do it. So Bob Shirley, yeoman work. 5 shutout innings of relief. If you want to call it keeping his team in the game, I would definitely say that's not a bad way to look at it. And we're going to cap Shirley at those 5 innings. So Shirley will go 5 innings. Very impressive. Gives up just 4 hits, rather. 4 hits. No runs. And let's check his walks and strikeouts. He didn't walk anybody. Didn't strike anybody out either. Put the ball in play and got outs. So we go to the 7th inning stretch. This will be the fatigue inning for Frank Viola. 6-2 Twins lead it. It'll be Jackson, Balboni, and Salazar. But since we're in the 7th inning, pinch hitting is now allowed. So I'm sure we'll get a pinch hitter for the catcher Owens because he's a terrible hitter. Might even get a pinch hitter for Salazar. But first things first, as Bo knows, he broke up the no-hitter and the shutout with a home run in the 5th. 5-7. Ground ball shortstop X, that's Gagne. He's a 2E24. 2-20, he'll get to that. E24 as a shortstop. E24, he has to avoid 4, 6, and then 15, 17, and 18. And that is a 16. Don't tell me we have another error. E24 and a 16. No, he avoided it. 15, 17, and 18 are the errors, but a 16 is not an error. So how about that? He manages to somehow avoid booting it again. And boy, if he had, I think Viola would have lost it. 1 away for Balboni, the designated hitter. 6-7, struck him out. Strikeout number 6 for Viola. And here is Salazar. With 2 outs and the base is empty, they're just going to let Salazar hit. 2-6, and he flies to center. So full endurance. Viola will carry full endurance into the 8th inning. We go to the top of the 8th with the score still 6-2. And new pitcher for the Royals will be Steve Bridge Too Far. And we'll bring him in on the computer as well. Get his numbers real world. Steve Farr. Let's look at Steve Farr's numbers. Steve Farr, 4-3 with a 4.15 earned run average. And in the real season as well, he garnered 1 save. On the replay, he is 3-3 with 8 saves and a 4.28 ERA. I'd been using him as a closer more so than Quisenberry. Let's see, 48 innings pitched, 45 hits, 33 walks, 47 strikeouts. And he'll be facing Tom Brunansky to lead off top of the 8th. 5-11, and that's a ballpark single check. 1-11 for Brunansky. And that is a base hit for Tom Brunansky. Leadoff single, he'll be held, but won't go anywhere. Far a +5 hold, though, but be tempting. But they're going to go ahead and make him a +4. Far. They'll go ahead and let Lombardozzi swing away. Could bunt, but they're up 6-2, so they're not struggling for 1 run. They're going to just play it out normal. 4-3 is a ground ball first base X. That is Brett. He's a 3E12, but holding the runner makes him a 4E12. 4-18, though, may not matter. He might still get a G1. 4-18 is still a G1, so it's still a possible double play. Brett is an E12 at first base, so he's got to avoid 6, 9, 15, and 18. And that is an 8. So good play for Brett. It's going to be a 3-6-3 double play. They turn it on Lombardozzi. Pitcher's best friend once again. Helps Mr. Far out. And that was far out as far as he's concerned. Here is Sal Butera. 6-2, and that's a split. Would be a split, but it's an automatic. This is an interesting card. You see this sometimes in Strat-O-Matic. Most times in Strat-O-Matic, when you have the triangle, you usually have a split under the triangle. But in this case, with the triangle, the split is just a line out to short. There is no D20 roll to see what happens. It's an automatic line out to short. So that's what's happening on his card here. So Butera will line to short to end the inning. So we go to the bottom of the 8th. Still 6-2, and we will get a pinch hitter for Larry Owen for sure, as Owen is a terrible base hitter or terrible hitter. So let's see who the Royals want to have come off the bench against the left-hander Viola. Do they have any? Well, they got some decent sticks from the right side, I'm sure. Let's take a look here. Juan Beniquez is one of them. He's a possibility. Let's go to their bench. See who they might want to turn to. I'm thinking Beniquez, though. He's got the early track for me that it's going to be Beniquez. And that's exactly who it's going to be. Juan Beniquez will pinch hit. Then Jamie Quirk will come in to catch. So Beniquez will pinch hit here in the 8th. And then Jamie Quirk will come in and catch in the 9th. So Quirk will be the new catcher. But right now it is Juan Beniquez who will come on and face Mr. Viola. So Beniquez on the replay is hitting .269, 6 homers, 28 driven in. He at .251 real world. Whoa, that stuck to my finger. Got caught in my hand here, so that second red die didn't make it through. Let's try it again. There we go. 6-4 for Beniquez against Viola. It's a ground ball third base X. Normally it's the reliable Gary Gaetti, but he got injured, so we got Newman, who's a 3-E31, and that's not guaranteed by any means. 3-11, though, I think he'll get to that. 3-11 he does. So Newman, if we look at his numbers, again, just to double check his defense, make sure I wrote it down correctly. Newman is a 3-E31, so I did write it down correctly. So E31 at third base, 10, 11, 14, 15, and 18. Got to avoid those. And that is a 12. So he somehow manipulated and got through that without an error. I don't know how, but E31, there is no 12. So it's good play for Al Newman, and Beniquez, the pinch hitter, is out. Now we bring up Willie Wilson in the top of the order. Wilson is 1 for 3. He did double and score his last time up. 5'10", right-hander. That's a catcher X. We're looking at Butera. He's a 4, but nobody's on base, so no worries of a pass ball or anything. In fact, a 20 there is going to turn that 4 catcher into a G2. So it's a standard G2 unless there's an error. He's an E5. The only errors are 4, 16, 17, and 18. And he makes the play. So it's a 2-3 ground out, throwing out Wilson. 2 up, 2 down. Viola looking to carry full endurance into the 9th. Here's Kevin Seitzer. He's 0 for 3. 1-8, and he finally gets a hit. Kevin Seitzer, a 2-out single. Seitzer will be held at first base, but will not go anywhere. Here's George Brett, not down 6-2. He won't. Hello, Joe. Better late than never, as they say. Here is Mr. Brett. 3-4 for Brett Ground ball to first, and Herbeck will take it to the bag himself. So Viola looking to go the complete distance. 6-2. He does have Jeff Reardon in the bullpen in case he gets in trouble, but right now they're going to see if he can finish it out. Steve Farr will come in and pitch the ninth. He's already pitched the scoreless eighth, faced the minimum. So he's going to come in and wrap up here in the ninth. At least that's the goal, without having to use any more pitchers. And Dan Gladden, your leadoff man. That's a 4-7, and that's a 1-14 single. Anything else, he lines it to short. And that is a single for Dan Gladden. Leadoff single. He will be held, but he will not try to steal. Or will he? Actually, he will. He got caught the first time, but he says, you know what? We got a plus 4 hold rating here, so we're going to try to get the lead. If we get the lead, it's almost automatic. So a 4, 5, or 6 to get the lead. And he gets to 5, he's going to go. 18 being held is a 16, but the plus 4 is a 20. So basically, the only way he's out is on a 20. And he's safe. So stolen base for Dan Gladden. He got caught in the first inning. Atones for it here with a stolen base. And for Dan Gladden, we looked at it earlier, we'll look at it again. Gladden stole 25 bases real world, got caught 9 times. This is his 10th stolen base. He's been caught 3 times. So Gladden's at second base, takes away the double play, or at least the ground ball version of it. And we go to Greg Gagne. Far to Gagne. That is a 3-6 for Gagne, and that's a split. 1-4 is a single. Anything else, he lines it to short. And that's a liner right to Salazar. Out number 1. 1 down. Don't forget tonight, around 8:30ish or so, probably, will be the game 5, or the 5th game in the Colorado Rockies Rocky Horror Baseball Show, as they again attempt to play the Philadelphia Phillies and try to not embarrass themselves. Here is Kirby Puckett. It's Kyle Freeland against Zach Wheeler. There's Kirby Puckett. 3-6 righty. 1-8 is a single. Anything else, he lines it to Salazar. And that'll be a liner again to Salazar. Two in a row there. And here's Herbeck. So Herbeck is on. That's a 1-11 for Herbeck. He grounds it to Brett, and that's going to do it. So kudos to the Royal bullpen. 7 innings of shutout relief. 6-hit shutout over those 7 innings. Oddly, they didn't walk or strike anybody out, but they didn't need to. So now we go to the bottom of the 9th. Last chance for the Royals. Viola going for the complete game. Jeff Reardon in the bullpen just in case. It'll be Tartable, White, and Jackson. 4, 5, and 6 hitters for the Royals. Tartable 0 for 3. 4-9, and that's going to be a base on balls. That's what you need, are base runners. When you're down by 4 runs, you get on base any way you can. Tartable will get on base, and that's actually the first walk issued by Viola the whole game. Tartable will not be held. He's not going anywhere. Here's Frank White. Although now Reardon is loosening the bullpen a little bit more urgently. 2-9, and that's going to be a double 1-9, single 10-20. That's a double 2 stars. It's going to put runners at second and third, nobody out. And now, Bo Jackson, your batter. Viola, infield is back. This may be Viola's last batter, as he's going to face not Frank White, but Bo Jackson. Frank White just hit that double. This is Bo Jackson. 3-6 for Jackson, and that's a ballpark blast. Unfortunately for Jackson, it's only a 1-3. But if he can coax a 1, 2, or 3 here, we got a brand new ball game. 17, though, he will fly to left, but it is by default a sacrifice fly to left. It's a fly ball B, so that will score Tartable and cut the lead to 6-3. And Balboni is your batter. And that's going to do it for Viola. Tom Kelly has seen enough. He's going to go to, not to a spam call, but he's going to go to his closer, Jeff Reardon. It is now a save situation for Reardon. So let's bring in Reardon on the computer. We'll wait and total up Viola's numbers after the game is over, because he's got guys on base that he is still responsible for. Or at least one guy on base he's still responsible for. So Jeff Reardon coming in. And for Reardon, on the 87 season, 8-8 with a 4.48 ERA. And he garnered 31 saves. So now he is on. Do they pinch it for Balboni? That's a pretty good thing to consider, because you got some lefties on the bench that can hit. Let's see here. Eisenreich's 238, which is still better than what Balboni is. Bosley's 279. They're going to go to Thad Bosley, because Balboni's the DH. We can pinch it with anybody we want and not have to worry about subbing anyone. So it will be Thad Bosley to pinch hit. No relation to Tom Bosley of Happy Days or Father Dowling, but different kind of Bosley. No relation to the Bosley hair products either, I don't think. So Bosley will pinch hit here in the 9th. Stay in the game to DH if it happens to go extra innings, but probably not going to happen, but you never know. That's the beauty of baseball, is it's not like football. You can't take a knee and run the clock out. You have to get all the outs. It only works if you get all the outs. So we're going to bring Bosley in to pinch hit for Balboni. Bosley on the replay hitting 167, 2 homers, 9 driven in, but he did hit 279 real world. So they're mainly looking at his real world numbers, not his replay numbers. So here's Reardon, 5-8, and that's a ballpark blast. And Bosley, though, has weak power, but it would be a single, but it's only a 1-3 chance of that. And that's going to just miss for a deep fly out to right field, 2 down. Angel Salazar is the batter, but he's going to get called back. And they're going to go to Jim Eisenreich. Eisenreich will come off the bench. And if it somehow goes extra innings, they do have Buddy Biancalana on the bench that can come in and play short. So they will go with Eisenreich. He will pinch hit for Salazar. Eisenreich, let's bring him in on the computer. Get his numbers. 2 outs now, last chance. It is a clutch situation, as a matter of fact. So Eisenreich. On deck is Jamie Quirk. But right now, Eisenreich hitting 353 on the replay, just 17 at bats. So take that with a grain of salt. No homers, 4 driven in. He only hit 238 real world. But he's a much better hitter than Salazar. Here's Reardon. Nothing on the havoc. Clutch situation for Eisenreich, and in the clutch, looks like he's completely neutral. Don't see any differences there. 6-9, and that's a ground ball to second, and that will do it. Royals get a run in the 9th, but nothing else, and Jeff Reardon will garner his 14th save of the replay. The win will go to Viola. He's now going to be 8-4. Stoddard, the tough, terrible loss. He goes to 0-2. And we'll get the totals off the computer and set you up for tomorrow's game. So the Royals really never had a chance, as Bob Stoddard managed to give up 5 runs, 6 runs actually, in 2+ innings. So our final line score, 6 runs, 13 hits, uncharacteristically 3 errors for the Twins, 3 runs, 4 hits, and no errors for the Royals. Final line on Viola, 8 1/3 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, 2 of which were earned, 1 walk and 6 strikeouts. Reardon 2/3 of an inning and gave up nothing. Bob Shirley, still amazing. 5 innings of shutout relief. You can say it was wasted, but it wasn't really wasted, because it did save the bullpen. They didn't have to use Jerry Don Gleaton, and they didn't have to use Quidberry, so they have them fresh for the next game. So there you go, 6-3, the victory for the Twins. To real world, they lost 4-3, but in this one they win 6-3. Viola improves to 8-4. As we flip the page over, well, actually, I don't have that page down here with me, do I? So let me look on the computer and see who the next game is going to be. I do believe we're going to be in Toronto for the Yankees and the Blue Jays, but let me verify that. I believe tomorrow is Yankees Blue Jays, and Friday is Tigers and Tigers and Brewers. So yes, we will be at Toronto tomorrow, and it'll be 14-2 Jimmy Key on the mound for the Blue Jays against left-hander Tommy John for the Yankees. So Yankees and Blue Jays from Exhibition Stadium tomorrow at roughly 9 o'clock, 9:15, something like that in the morning. But if you're so interested in seeing futility, we got Game 5 of the Rockies Horror Baseball Show to present tonight from Citizens Bank Park. The Rockies are 0-4. It'll be Zach Wheeler on the mound for the Phillies against Kyle Freeland for the Rockies. That'll be tonight, roughly around 8:15, 8:30, something like that Eastern, or whenever I can get around to it. So thank you all for joining me here live, for the ones that did, and also thank you for anybody that watches this later on. Game 530 is in the books, and Game 531 will be tomorrow, Yankees and Blue Jays from north of the border. So that's going to do it from here. Till next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road. For me to get